raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and to bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of those officers appointed over me according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God.
We celebrate Veterans Day on the anniversary of the armistice that ended World War I. The armistice that began on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The timing of this holiday is quite deliberate in terms of historical fact. But somehow it always seems quite fitting to me that this day comes deep in autumn when the colors are muted and the days seem to invite contemplation. It is, in a way, an odd thing to honor those who died in defense of our country, in defense of us, in wars far away. The imagination plays a trick. We see these soldiers in our mind as old and wise, but most of them were boys when they died, and they gave up two lives, the one they were living and the one they would have lived. When they died, they gave up their chance to be husbands and fathers and grandfathers. They gave up their chance to be revered old men. They gave up everything for our country, for us. And all we can do is remember. I will not fail thee nor forsake thee. In memory of those who gave the last full measure of devotion, may our efforts to achieve lasting peace gain strength. Let us make a vow to our dead. Let us show them by our actions that we understand what they died for. Strengthened by their courage, heartened by their value, and borne by their memory, let us continue to stand for the ideals for which they lived and died.
In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. We shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty.
Hey, happy Veterans Day, and a big thank you goes out to each and every one of you veterans from us here at BCB Live. So grateful for the sacrifice that you, your family, your son, your daughter, your friends have made. Drive Safe Dave, my dad, a 25-year vet. Many of our guests on the show also vets as well. I know it goes the same with you. It hits home. Boy, it just hits home. You watch some of these videos and when the parents are reunited with their children, especially, how that doesn't bring a tear to everyone's eye. I wouldn't understand that part, but it's absolutely amazing. We're so thankful for your sacrifice.
Yeah, genuinely encouraged by the message on the video and truly happy, and want to say a genuine thank you to anyone that's taken the oath, anyone that has served in any capacity, man or woman, and whatever it is, or no matter how it is you have served. Thank you so much for what you have done and the continued support that outgoes to all of our service members, no matter when, where, and why. And we welcome that, and we want that, and we appreciate you on today, Armistice Day and Veterans Day. Thank you so much for the service of this country. You know, it is exciting, and to know that we have a moment to reflect. You know, we talk about Thankful Thursday. What a great day to be thankful for what's going on today, and a moment to just stand aside and go, thank you. You know, have you been, I asked this, have you been to Arlington Cemetery?
I have not.
Man, I'll tell you, it is overwhelming. It is very, it is sacred ground, and to stand amongst those stones that go out in all directions, it is unbelievably fascinating and humbling, I'll tell you at best. And some of those stones are there from the beginning, and here they are, and they're even from most recent today, and the meaning and the honor is still there.
Yeah, and you know, there's so many. We all have different ways to remember to think about this day. You know, I think it was, you know, I love when I walk out of the house and go down the neighborhood and you see all the flags, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, love that part of that. I'm also a big, just love the songs. I love, you know, all the songs. They just bring back memories. And this weekend I was walking, and the song came from Toby Keith.
Oh, yeah.
You know, American Soldier. And there's a line here I put down because it just, and I probably played it 15 times, just played it over and over again. I can't call in sick on Mondays when the weekend's been too strong. I just work straight through the holidays, sometimes all night long. You can bet that I stand ready when the wolf growls at the door. Hey, I'm solid. Hey, I'm steady. Hey, I'm true down to the core. And here's the part that really gets me right here. It goes, and I'll always do my duty no matter what the price. I've counted up the cost. I know the sacrifice. Oh, and I don't want to die for you, but if dying's asked of me, I'll bear that cross with honor, because freedom don't come free.
That's right. And you look at all of those stones and you realize the price that was paid for freedom. And it's continue and it's necessary. You know, we all think of the freedoms that we have, and I'm telling you, being free has a cost.
It does have a cost.
And it is.
I think sometimes we need that remembrance as well. And I know that's part of, we can think about that on Veterans Day, but Drive Safe Dave, so many of us forget that the freedoms that we have here in this United States of America, it came with a cost. It comes with a cost.
Yeah, so
it still does.
I asked my father about this simple question because he was in Nam and he came home, and there was a lot of draft dodgers and a lot of people protesting the war, and I said, do you get upset, you know, he said, you know, it does. It is a little discouraging, but I'll tell you, it is my responsibility to defend their right to be dissatisfied as well. Not only the ones that wave the one behind me, but also I'm responsible for those that don't like what I do. Mm-hmm. So I have to bear that burden. That's my job, and that's what I signed up for.
If you're out there right now, you're one of the BCB Live listeners, and you have that opportunity to raise your hand. Listen, we want to be able to see who you are. We want to say thank you. We want others to know who you are as well. If you can, just kind of raise your hand and drive safe, Dave. We say thank you to them for certain, right, for all that you've done.
Absolutely, and you know what? We have to continue to do so. Who you got, Dylan?
Yeah, we got David Mason and then Tommy Jones.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thank you for your service. We appreciate what it is. And no matter how you served or in whatever capacity you served, it matters. And it is to be honored and remembered.
Sure. David Mason, did you have something to say, or were you just kind of raising your hand for that?
I was just raising my hand for that, Rick.
Gotcha. And David Mason, so funny story is, though, David Mason, for those of you that don't know, we actually went to school together in the Panama Canal. His dad and his family moved in across the street from us during that period. Grew up in that military aspect, drive safe, Dave. So definitely it hits home, and the sacrifices. And I wish we had Bonilla on here today, another gentleman that security, that spent time in the military. It just, there's something special about you folks that protected, that kept this freedom here. And I have a deep appreciation for what it is, that sacrifice that you made, each and every one of you.
Yeah, and it's really nice. And what I've come to understand and appreciate is the humility that goes along with the with what was done and how it was done. And there's just a simple look and a simple glance, and it is awesome. Who you got, Dylan?
Yeah, we also have Ricky Butterfield, Glenn Anderson, Clint Ford, and Kelvin Brown as well.
Nice.
We appreciate all of you, each and every one of you. Thank you sincerely for all that you've done. I mean, and you do, and who you are. Just an amazing thing. Hey, Drive Safe Dave, we'll be back in 60 seconds. This is BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. All right, we've seen a couple more hands raised up. Jesse Swain, we want to say you Watford as well. Thank you for what you've done. Continue to raise your hands. And again, for you that also has family members, your kids, your parents, we want to say thank you for that as well. I know inside the office, Drive Safe, we have people inside this office whose kids are out serving right now. And a big, big thank you to each and every one of you. Make sure you pass that out as well. Drive Safe Dave, the mandate, we talked about it last Thursday. It's getting a lot of activity. It's not over yet. I just think that, and it's not just the Trucking Association, right?
No.
It's everybody. Here we go. You ready? The National Federation of Independent Businesses. The National Retail Federation, pretty large group of folks right there. The International Warehouse and Logistics Association. The National Association for Convenience Stores. It goes on and on.
Yeah. Everybody wants in on the action because of the imposed problems that this is going to create in nationwide. I mean, here we are. Look, we want vaccinations. We need vaccinations. We want to get them done. However, damaging the infrastructure of the United States by doing so is not the answer, right? I mean,
Yeah, so you have all these groups, along with the ATA, that have filed a suit in federal court opposing the proposed COVID-19 vaccination and testing rule, and it just keeps going, Dave. They're after they're seeking a stay in it, right? And that's what they're doing. So is also the TSA, the group that represents the TSA, over 700,000 people saying the same thing. I was confused with what the TSA group was saying. They're saying, hey, they want it pushed till 2022, and I thought it already was 2020. It's January 2022, but it's already 2022.
And I looked at it, and what was really neat by the legal argument was saying that it's not about the efficacy of the vaccine itself. They understand that it works, but what they are saying is about the hard line approach and also what it will do to the economy, what it will do, the hardships that it will place on the businesses that help run this country and keep it afloat.
Yeah, defendants, it's OSHA, Department of Labor,
Correct.
along with the Labor Secretary Martin Walso and the OSHA Assistant Secretary Douglas Parker. It's getting personal. We're going after. I'm telling you, it's like, hey,
if you were appointed, you're going to be on the stand. I'm just telling you. If you were appointed in your departments, you are going to be on the stand because they were going to be plaintiffs today.
And obviously, when it comes to the trucking associations going behind this, and it's not just it's the stateside associations as well behind all of this. It's because there's issues right now in that supply chain. You know, Saturday when President Biden announced that we've come together on an infrastructure bill, he asked a question to the reporters. And can we play that, producer? Here we go.
By the way, you all write for a living. I haven't seen any one of you explain supply chain very well. No, I'm not being critical. I'm being deadly earnest. When your editor says, explain the supply chain, okay?
You know,
okay, we could take outtakes all day of every president. Yeah, we could do that all day.
All right, you know what? So here we go. So I will say this: next Tuesday, we do have Don Christensen from Christian Transportation going to join us. I'm going to get Big Blue, Brian Brzezowski, from the president of BCB Transport, to join this show as well. And we're going to have a talk. And I want to talk about the supply chain because, you know, if the president's asking these people out here who write about it, if they don't know it, the president doesn't understand it. I think we as a country, we really don't understand it. We probably need some folks that live in that transportation to explain to everyone the supply chain issue. And it starts from the beginning. And it goes back, I think, Drive Safe, Dave, my opinion, and again, I don't know a whole lot. I'm a reporter, right? I'm on the other side. I just report the news. But what I do say this is that many of these, I don't know if you call it a problem. I will say this, 2019, I'm going back before COVID. In 2018, let's go back another year, 2018, the e-logs happened, right? The rates went crazy. Everything went high, but more for fear. In 2019, you know, the economy, we believe that the freight went back down. Numbers just show that it went back down. It went back down to normal is what they say, is what numbers show. But what happened on that, although freight moved normal, inventory did not move in 2019. Inventory didn't move. Freight may have moved, right? Volume may have stayed steady, but it wasn't inventory moving. It was just like building up warehousing. Nothing was getting sold. And we knew that because the price of freight didn't go back up. It went down and kept going lower and lower and lower because if you're not moving inventory, Dave, there's no reason to move it, right? You're going to wait for the best price.
Yeah, and so you just hold it. And
hold it.
Yeah, just hold it. Now, give me a deal to move what I have, and if you can, I get it, but I'll wait for the lowest bidder.
As opposed to today. And I say this, and I'm not bringing up any conspiracy theory, all right? But I will say this. Thank God that we had inventory built up for when COVID hit.
Oh,
because it gave us a chance to empty out these warehouses, and empty them did we do. Yeah. And now we can't get them full again, and now we're ordering at a new record high. We've changed who we are as consumers, right? We are now ordering everything online, and it's not slowing down. If you can't get it on the store, Drive Safe, Dave, then you're going to keep ordering it. And you're going to get one of those 7 billion messages that say out of stock. Was it 7 billion? Is that what we said? It was a ton. 4 billion, 7 billion. Is there a difference?
It was
a lot.
Yeah.
And so I say, I'm looking forward to having these two folks on the show to get a little deeper dive. And Don Christian been in transportation for many years to get his perspective on not just the ports, but trucking drivers, the COVID, work, everything, to help answer some of these. And maybe we can put a rebuttal back there for the president or for the press to write on, something like that, Drive Safe.
Yeah, and I truly believe that behind the scenes, we as individuals, and even in trucking, we take sometimes for granted all of the goods that we truly get, and we don't question them. I mean, most of the time when we go buy a house or whatever, we don't even look, we don't even think about how many trucks it took to bring in the concrete and the wood and the steel and the shingles or what have you. And then you go back to putting it all in there and all of the different things that we do each and every day. So as we talk about supply chains and as we continue to worry about, it doesn't take much, right, Rick? It doesn't take much. And when COVID hit and we emptied out these inventories, we actually were worried on how we were going to get when the shelves started to get empty again.
Yep.
And we haven't really faced that in our time. When was the last time you truly faced an empty shelf on when you went out to the store or couldn't really find many goods? I'm not talking about one or two, but I'm talking about a lot of goods.
Yep. And you go to your direct point on that is that shelf space at a store is valuable.
Very.
And it's never empty. Except it is, right? It's never empty. When you run bread, and we ran a lot of freight, we still have a customer that ships a lot of bread that needs that bread on the shelves. And shelf space is valuable because if you don't have it, you lose it.
Right.
Well, it's there to be gotten right now. I mean, it's available. Everything is empty. The cheese is empty. Everything. Drive safe, Dave.
Correct.
It's absolutely amazing the amount of shelf space available out there today.
Yeah, and and there's also a lot of companies out there that charge when you got empty shelf space, when you don't have your product on there, and the punishment that goes along with it. But when was the last time before COVID? When was the last time you walked in to get a loaf of bread in a big supermarket and there wasn't one loaf in the entire wall that is
COVID, I think, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a little while, but you can see bread today.
You can't.
But during COVID, it was empty.
Empty.
It was either that or toilet paper.
Yeah.
Right. Either
lunch
one.
meat.
Yes.
Lunch meat. Frozen food. What is it? Snack foods.
Gone.
Gone. You couldn't find a pizza roll to save your life in this country. They were gold. They were more expensive, more valuable than gold.
They are. And so drive safe. We have a little homework assignment, and one or two of you may raise your hand. We may get you involved in this. I saw an article. I'm going to finish it up a little bit on some of the airline industry issues, right? The life, kind of like a day in the life of an airplane, what it goes through with the weather and all of this. And I think this industry needs to explain to this country what happens to a day of a driver when that driver sets out and leaves just on time to make everything work, and there's traffic. Somebody doesn't show up. They don't get unloaded. There's a mechanical. The delays on that one shipment, the delays on you, the driver, and your productivity for that 1 week, for that 7-day period, for a month. How much disruptions go into a life of you? And it can be any of you because you all go through it. And Drive Safe Dave, and I think when you start there, when you explain what happens with regulation, that you can't make time up, with traffic, with people calling in sick, with the driver just not feeling well, whatever it is, it causes delays in appointments, in dropping a load, and your load, somebody's load not getting delivered. I think that is a story worth telling.
Yeah, and it's just like when you do talk about the airlines, how they get backed up and how it becomes a disaster when a few
it's no difference in trucking, right?
It's no different.
No.
It's the same problems. It's the same issues, and it's been going on now for a while. I mean,
I think it's time we let the secret sauce out and we talk to you out there, the listening audience. What happens, because it's the same story in airlines, and there's probably the only group that understands what's going on in the airline industry is probably us in the trucking industry, and probably vice versa, because we live that same hell.
Yeah.
When something goes wrong, it blows up for us all.
Yeah, you think about, what does the airlines truly do? I mean, they either move cargo or they move cargo of people. They move cargo, and that's what we do. We move cargo, and that's the same thing. It's just it's in the sky instead of on the ground. And it's
not sure I've ever been called cargo before, but I'll take it. Hey, we'll be back to you in about 60 seconds This is BCB Live. We are the safest station in the nation.
Hi, this is David Dover, also known as Drive Safe Dave. You are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Safety is what you want to talk about, and safety is what you want to be every single day. That's what we're here for. We're here to make it better.
The industry needs BCB Live so that it can find new and inventive ways to bring safety to the forefront for every single person out there on the road.
While you're on duty driving, you have to stay focused in that moment, in that time. If you need a time, if you need a second, or if you need a break, pull over. Jump out, get that Pepsi, that hot dog. Do what you got to do to relax for a second.
You can watch BCB Live weekdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Follow and subscribe to BCB Live today.
Hey, welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive Safe Dave. I'm not sure if you saw it, but up there in Portland, Maine, we caught a 1 in 100 million lobster called the cotton candy lobster.
Yeah, look at that. It is a rarity among. So the lobster catcher, he posted it up. Did we find out where he was going to take it or to what?
He's still looking for a place right now. He's not selling it.
I got a place.
Take it to a place. Let me tell you something. Drive Safe Dave, I'm going to go with you on this right here. Never in my life have I dipped cotton candy in butter. I've never tried that. But if that cotton candy lobster, let me tell you something. You get a little bit of garlic butter with that, it would taste delicious. I'm a big fan, I believe, of the cotton candy lobster. Would you?
And at first when I saw the video and I saw this story and I was looking at it, and I was like, maybe you should just wash that thing off. It might be some kind of,
right?
Yeah, there might be just something on it with so much toxic in the water. There might just be some kind of stain going on with this thing.
Throw some Coca-Cola on top of it. See if that'll clear the rust off.
See if it washes off. I was like, is that really that exciting? But you know what? 1 in 100 million. I guess that guy won the lottery when it comes to
no doubt about it. So Big Blue and I, when we've been up to, we do have a terminal up there up in the in that area. Been up there to a place called Petey's. You've been there as well. Up in Rye, New Hampshire.
Oh, yeah.
They will give you some of the, you order your lobster there and then come out straight out of the ocean. You order them in twins. Yep. So it's a 1 pound twin, 2 pound twin. They'll crack them for you. They'll do it the lazy. You can do it yourself.
They're awesome.
I never had the cotton candy one, but some of the best lobster ever. Fresh, straight out of that ocean. Onto your plate, delicious. It's been many, many, many years ago since I've been there. I need to go back up there. Now it's just getting too cold.
But we are endorsing Petey's. I'm good.
100%. You know what? I'm going to get some. If you're up there right now in the New Hampshire area, stop by Petey's. Get us a shirt. Tell them we talked about them. We'll make sure we mark it on there. Maybe they can fly us down some of them lobster. Really not sure. Drive Safe Dave. Probably some of the biggest news comes out of Cobb County in Georgia, in which Elf on the Shelf is banned.
Yeah, the judge has found that it is detrimental to the social well-being of children because of the imposed stress that Elf on the Shelf will give to children.
The judge says right here, he made the order on Thursday as his gift to tired parents. It banned Elf on a Shelf from appearing this holiday season in that area, and the risk to the emotional health and well-being of children is one of the reasons why, right? When these elves do not move, it leaves our children of tender years in states of extreme emotional distress.
Okay.
Fake news.
I'm glad this is a big story.
Fake. If it's just sitting there, and here it goes. He recalls, the judge does, a time back in his day. Right. When here it goes. He goes, I recall an emotional period in my life when 3 children were sent to school in tears, with one child being labeled an elf murderer. And it was accused of making the elf lose his magic. Lose his magic, Drive Safe Dave. You have made me lose my magic. There's no doubt about it. So I can kind of believe that part.
Elf mojo.
Mojo gone.
Mojo gone.
Did you participate in Elf on the Shelf?
Never. I never did participate in that. We barely had Christmas when I was growing up.
The producer says he's kind of for this. It's kind of scarred him as well, producer.
No, but okay, here's the thing. I had a friend of mine who had Elf on the Shelf growing up, and every time I walked in, it would just look at you. It would just look at you from behind the bookshelf, or you'd come downstairs and you'd see it creeping around. And you know what? I'm gonna say go for it. I don't like seeing it anywhere anyways. If these people want to ban it because kids are stressed out, then let them ban it. Let it be gone.
Here it goes. Wasn't there a movie about this called Footloose when they banned all the books too because it wasn't appropriate reading? It starts with Elf on the Shelf, then it goes to the books.
That was dancing. I think you're talking about.
That's like The Giver. I think we're getting more into Orwellian stuff here.
Yeah, I think, or 1936 with Adolf Hitler in Germany.
You don't remember that when they go in there and they start throwing they're burning the books out of the library. I am the guy when it comes to Footloose. Hey, it is Thankful Thursday. We want to say thank you for all that you do out there. Thank you for staying safe. Thank you for staying focused on the road. Drive safe, Dave, as we move into the next segment. It's just important that we continue to iron sharpens iron. We're here to remind each other about how valuable it is to stay away from the distraction, how valuable it is to stay focused all the daggum time, because it only takes, as we saw yesterday, a couple of seconds.
Yeah, or even 1 second. It just takes a moment to glance away, a moment not to be focused. And it is important that we continue to remember not only that it's Veterans Day, but that we got to be safe today out there on Veterans Day, and whatever what we do and however we do it, stay focused today in what we do.
Coming up next, we have Dale Kellen. This is BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
You're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. BCB Live covers freight. Here we are now, 21% of record freight being rejected. News over the UK, they have the Army personnel getting ready to start driving the fuel trucks. Weather, traffic.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to some traffic and weather with Buckle Up Bob.
And most importantly, safety.
You can do many things to communicate that you are slowing down. You can flip your hazards on.
Expect craziness like this all the time.
75% of these fatal accidents involving these trucks are with the first two, and it's the driving too fast and tailgating. If this driver hadn't slowed down, this could have been a whole different outcome.
Tune in weekdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch BCB Live through LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live.
Hey, good morning and welcome to the morning version of the Safety Show on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. You've got Double Check Dale in front of the camera, and you got the Mr. Producer running the controls. Hey, it is Thankful Thursday, and I am thankful for veterans today. I am thankful for all they have done. I've got some little thing here, a definition of what is a veteran. A veteran, whether active duty, discharged, retired, or reserve, is someone who at one point in his life wrote a blank check made payable to the United States of America for an amount up to and including his life. That is honor. And there are way too many people today that really don't understand that fact. So thank you very much to all our veterans today. And thank you for tuning into BCB Live. Let's jump into some road or some traffic and see what we got going on today. Dallas-Fort Worth area. If we go over to the Fort Worth side of it, you know, there's a little bit going on the 820 around 287, a slowdown there. 35W coming into town, a little congestion on the southbound side. If you're in downtown Fort Worth area, you're definitely going to see some slowdown in that. And then 35W's just north of Burleson, a major slowdown there. You know, east to west, 30 in the mid-cities, 20s in the mid-cities, Interstate 30 and 20 in the mid-cities, some slowdowns. You get over to the Dallas side, you know, the downtown area is going to be where you're going to see some of your major congestions, 30, 45 south, 35E going south, and then the 20 loop on the south side of Dallas this morning around Duncanville all the way over to Hutchins. You know, we're going to see some tie-ups there. And then out on the eastbound side, 20, where it starts to head out, Belch Springs area, some slowdown there with the intersection of 635. Go up to Kansas City. You know, Kansas City looks really good this morning. Just nothing major going on, no major slowdowns or traffic tie-ups anywhere in Kansas City. So enjoy the ride in Kansas City. Chicago, you know, like I said, same as the afternoon show, 294. If you're inside the 294 loop in Chicago, going toward the downtown area, you're going to have a lot of traffic. If you're on 294 this morning, it looks really pretty good. 55 going into the loop towards the 294 loop. You know, there's a little bit of congestion there out in Darien, a major maybe a little bit of a slowdown there. 80, 94 running across, looks really wide open this morning. So traffic looks pretty decent out in the Chicago area. And we get to Atlanta, you know, of course, well, if you are, unless you're making a delivery in downtown Atlanta, you should not be inside the 285 loop. And so if we look at the 285 loop, if you're on the south side of it, and that'd be south of Interstate 20, wide open. If you're on the north side of Interstate 20 on the 285 loop, you know, up around Sandy Springs, the 85 junction, all the way around to Clarkson, you're going to have a lot of slowdowns, a lot of congestion, a lot of major traffic. So, you know, pack your patience out there because, you know, it is typical Atlanta traffic. And then on Interstate 20 east to west, right where it hits 285 out on the west side of town, major slowdown and back up. And then on the east side, where 285 going eastbound out of town, a major slowdown. 675, 85 going south out of Atlanta, look good this morning. You know, Philadelphia, just about easier to say which roads aren't congested, but you know, it's not as bad as we see. 76, where it comes into the downtown area, that's where you're going to see your major slowdowns and congestion, some really dark, long stretches of really dark areas, which means, you know, we probably have an accident, major tie-ups, some slowdowns there. 476 down in Swarthmore, a lot of slowdowns there. The 295 and 95 going north, you know, look pretty decent going out of there. Getting over to the Jersey side, you know, it looks pretty good over there. Just around Belmar is the only area we're seeing a lot of congestion in the New Jersey side out by Philadelphia. So overall, Philadelphia, not too bad this morning. Nashville, you know, it's where you come into Nashville from the north on 2465. That's where you're going to see your first major backup. And then the downtown loop where 24 and 40 run together, that's where you're going to see the other major backup. 24 heading south a little bit, there's a tie up there. But overall, you know, it's really not too bad for Nashville morning traffic. DC, Baltimore area. Oh, is that right? Because DC looks really good this morning. There's only two major tie-ups or two major areas with slowdowns. One is on the south side, 495 loop, down around Springfield. We're seeing a major tie-up and slowdown there. And then 495 up on the north side of town around Silver Springs. There's a slowdown there. But other than that, Washington, D.C. looks really good this morning. As you head north up to Baltimore, 95 is wide open, 295 is wide open. And in the Baltimore area, it's the 695 loop around Pikesville and Townsend and Parkville that you're going to see the slowdowns. Other than that, even Baltimore looks really good this morning. So let's head over to some weather. You know, the wind is starting to reemerge, I should say, and we have a major area of wind up on Colorado, the Rockies stretching up into Wyoming. I know there are some high wind warnings up in that area. So if you're running 80 across on Wyoming, 25 north of Denver, be aware of the winds up there. They are going to be there all day, all afternoon, and they are some very, very strong gusts projected up in that area. So if you're around Denver and Wyoming this afternoon, I-80 and I-25, anytime today, be aware of the winds there. Another area of major winds that is starting to build is up in the upper Midwest, North Dakota, South Dakota, and it's going to start working down into Nebraska. And we're going to see some precipitation. Actually, there's some blizzard warnings up there later this week. And then the winds are starting to build a little bit out into the middle United States, Illinois, and down into Arkansas. If we move that ahead to this afternoon, and again, just what I was saying, the winds are really starting to build out there. Again, if you're on I-25 north of Denver, I-80 going across Wyoming, expect strong winds, strong gusts this afternoon. And that area of wind and strong winds continues to grow and encompass more of North Dakota, all of South Dakota, the northern part of Nebraska, and starts getting into Iowa and Minnesota. And then the winds out into the Ohio River Valley, Ohio and Kentucky, northern Kentucky, West Virginia. You're going to start to see some winds build out there. Going into this evening hours, you know, the Denver area, Wyoming area, the winds still do not lay down overnight out there. So like I said, all day long going into the overnight and even into tomorrow, the winds north of Denver, I-25, Interstate 80, be aware. Also, as you're going across Nebraska this evening, the winds are starting to pick up there. So if you're on 80, be aware of that. I-90 going across South Dakota will have some high winds this evening. And that area of high winds just continues to grow up in that area up there. Tomorrow morning, again, be aware of the winds north of Denver and southern Wyoming. And then if you're anywhere in the upper Midwest, Nebraska, Iowa, South Dakota, North Dakota, the winds are really starting to build up there. So let's take a look and see what the precipitation is looking like. And so, you know, currently, if you look out west, we have some rain going on in upper northern Oregon along the Pacific coast. They're expecting a lot of rain up in that area. You get into the higher elevations in Washington and Idaho, you're going to see quite a bit of snow. And we've been talking a lot about the winds in north of Denver on I-25 and 80 up in Wyoming. You know, possibilities, some snowflakes there. The other major precipitation events going on is we have a band of thunderstorms that starts down south of Houston and just kind of curves all the way up through Arkansas, parts of Arkansas, Mississippi, Illinois, southern Missouri, up into Iowa, Wisconsin, and St. Paul. It connects with a big storm coming out of Canada that, like I said, we're going to see blizzards up in the northern upper Midwest this weekend. This afternoon, as we go into this afternoon, you know, the rain continues out on the Pacific coast up in Oregon and into Washington. The snow picks up a little bit more up in the Denver area, north of Denver and to Wyoming. The rain that I was talking about from Houston has now shifted east, and it's covering into Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Ohio. So if you're in any of those areas, be aware of some heavy rains. This afternoon, we'll see a really heavy thunderstorm up on the Tennessee-Kentucky border. So if you're in that area, be aware. And then again, if you're in the upper Midwest, North Dakota, northern Minnesota, and South Dakota, you know, we have high winds, and we're starting to see the snow fall up there this evening. Going into tomorrow morning, by tomorrow morning, again, rain still out on the Pacific coast, Oregon, and Washington. So, you know, if you're up there, be aware of some flash flooding because that's 24 hours or better of rain up in that area. Colorado and Rockies, you know, north of Denver, you're going to see some snow up there. And now we have a really large band of snow that covers all of eastern North Dakota, eastern central South Dakota, southern Minnesota, and almost all of Iowa tomorrow has snow falling tomorrow morning. So if you're in any of those areas, that's Interstate 80, I-35 up in that area, I-90 in South Dakota, I-94 in North Dakota. Be aware of that because we have the combination of winds and snow, and so that's blizzard driving conditions. You know, if you're loaded light and you have the high winds, you want to slow down. If the roads start to get slick, snow covered or whatever, wait it out, pull over. If you don't feel safe or comfortable driving in those conditions, pull over, wait it out, talk to your DM, let them know what's going on. Talk to safety, find a weather station, stay abreast of what's going on with that. And then as you get all the way out to the East Coast, you know, we have some rain along the East Coast, North Carolina, north up into Virginia, Washington, D.C., Pennsylvania. By tomorrow afternoon, the snow dies down up in the upper Midwest. So by tomorrow afternoon, you know, that storm seems to have slowed down or de-intensified a little bit. The rain has moved off the coast out on the east, but it's still raining up in the Pacific Northwest, so you really want to be aware if you're up there of flash flooding and the road condition, ponding and slowing. And so adjust your speed and space for the weather conditions, weather and road conditions. And with that, we'll take a short break. That is pretty cool.
Welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Boy, let me tell you something. I can almost hear it now. When I watch the weather, I almost feel like, what's getting ready to happen is I only run I-20 and south. It's getting ready to be on the radar. If you're new to dispatch, you'll start hearing that right around now. 20 south, that's my new area.
40, anything below 40, I just don't know. I'm good. I'm not interested. Say anywhere. Yeah, yes. I don't.
North Dakota, no surprise there. Cold, windy, and a little snowy. Hey, get used to it if you're from that area. If you're new to trucking, then, it gets cold up there. You ever been up in the Dakotas?
Absolutely.
During trucking? What's the coldest weather you've ever been in?
Out by Green Bay, it was like -20 with a wind chill factor of about -60.
Did you go outside and just test it out?
Oh, yeah.
Chill? Did you take the jacket off and just go out there for a second?
No, I stepped out. I stepped out for a really brief period of time to take care of some business. And I'm telling you, I spit and it cracked. I mean, that's how cold it was. It was that cold. I mean, the spit cracked.
All right. Well, we hear about that. How do you tie that into our safety subject today, sir?
Well, I guess we're talking about hours of service, and so I would say,
spit on you, hours of service. Spit on you.
If it's that cold, you might want to take a break and see if it's going to warm up. But if you're up in North Dakota and parts of Minnesota, it's not going to. Okay, it just stays cold for a long time in there. So, anyway, we're talking about hours of service. We're talking a lot about split sleeper berth, and so it's about knowing the minimums, knowing what parts of it comprise the split sleeper berth. And so, there's three basic parts of it. The short break, which has to be a minimum of 2 hours. The long break, which has to be a minimum of 7 hours. And together, they have to equal 10 hours. And so you just have to make sure if you take that short break, which can be off-duty or sleeper berth or a combination of two, and your long break, which has to be all sleeper berth, uninterrupted, those two together have to equal 10. And so we say 2 and 7. So if you have the 2-hour short break and a 7-hour long break, does not work for the split sleeper berth. It has to come into 10 hours. And so, that's really the basic maths of it. And so that's what we got there. You guys talked about the streaks yet today?
No, not today.
Oh, well, let's talk about the accident-free streaks. And right now, preventable accident-free streak is at 9 days. Continues. Yes. Thank you,
Love
Rick.
it. Great job out there.
Keep it going.
24 hours at a time.
Yep, one mile at a time, 1 day at a time, 24 hours at a time. If I knew the minutes, I'd throw that out there. DOT reportable accident-free streak is at 23 days. Record is 232, so we're just 200 days away from that, or 211 days away from that. But the big thing is get out and look. Our backing accident-free streak is now at 62 days.
Awesome. That means what, Drive Safe Dave?
That means we're doing a great job.
We're getting out and looking. Yeah. More and more of us
great job.
Are getting out and looking. Yeah. It's critical that we continue to do that. We get out and look, because when you get out and look, you tend not to back into something because you see it's there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And you don't get out and look.
Yeah, you got to do it every time. Every time you get to the dock, every time you get to a customer, to the truck stop, and you're getting ready to back up, you've got to get out and look. You got to see what your surroundings are, making sure that you have plenty of space, and if you're not sure, get out a second time. Do that double check and get out a second time and look, and this streak will continue to grow, and that's great stuff.
Hey, you ran over it really quick, and I just wanted to make a small mention of the hours of service rules on the split sleeper.
Yeah.
On the qualified break. Look, if you've never done it before, if you have an opportunity to try utilizing the split sleeper, I recommend that you try and figure out a way, not that you have to use it all the time, but get to know how it works and get to know how you can apply it to what it is you do on a daily basis. Because I'm telling you, if you take advantage of some of these situations in which it can benefit you, I'm telling you, it'll work wonders as you try to figure out better ways to improve your productivity, better ways to make your time better. I can tell you from personal experience, not always do I need a solid 10 to get rested, but if I work my time, I can rest a little bit here, 3 hours here and 7 here, and as long as I commit the 10 and I utilize the qualified break, is what we call when we see in the sleeper, we can use those moments in this tool. It's just a tool to better your ability to make more money and run longer and more efficiently. I'm just saying, if you have a chance and an opportunity, try it out. It may not be for you, but if you've never tried that broccoli on the table, you don't know that it's not good. I mean,
stay away from the Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, I'm just saying, and put it out there and try it and give it a shot. I hear some people say, "No, I don't ever want to do it. I'm just saying, if you get a chance, give it a shot and see if it works for you.
Yep. Along those points on the driver tech, if you use the split sleeper berth, if you push that button on there, the driver tech will start recalculating your hours for you if you make those qualifying breaks. And so it's not where you have to keep track of it so much yourself. And so the driver tech will help you do that. If you don't use split sleeper berth, you can still use it. You just have to be able to explain it to an officer if you get pulled over and they think you're in violation. So
yeah, so take advantage of the technology that's in your vehicle today to help you out with that. If you've used it before, right? If you've gone through the split sleeper berth, you want to talk about it after our videos. Hey, raise your hand. Give us some examples on how you made it work for you to make you more successful, either in your day or just in your normal business life. Producer, roll the videos, sir.
You know, this first one, if we watch that vehicle ahead of us, there's sparks flying out from underneath. And so the driver it just did a great job of backing off, you know, not knowing for sure what's causing those sparks. You know, and if you have the opportunity, we talk about communication, communicate with that other driver, let them know what's going on, that you got sparks so they can pull over and get it checked out. You know, the big picture here is we got a lane merge, you know, and our lane's running out. We're merging onto it. We got a narrow road. And so we have to have a big picture and see what's going on and being aware of what's going on ahead of us when we see those brake lights, the brake check ahead of us. And so we have to be ready to start slowing down sooner because, you know, the big picture tells us that traffic is slowing down, coming to a stop in this one.
Drive safe. I mean, we see a lot of lights going on there, right? And a lot of brakes are on. We've got to stop. We have to slow down. We just want to make sure we see these. And I know we have a lot of action going on. We're merging. We're coming onto this road here, and all of a sudden, maybe you're looking in your left mirror. Maybe you're making sure to see, is it clear for you to come over, and you just don't see what's going on ahead of you. We have the hazards on. We have lights on. It's nighttime, and I get this too, Drive Safe. It is so daggum difficult, even at nighttime, to judge some of that distance. But when you're in these areas, you have to slow down.
Yeah, I think even when the driver first enters into the roadway, the hazards are on in the distance. There's blinking lights going on. It is a good indication that something's wrong up ahead. And as you get closer, it even becomes more prevalent on the stopped vehicles. You know, and there are going to be times when you have to hard brake in when you come to a stop. And your hazards should be on immediately when you're stopped on a freeway like this. Make sure you're indicating the dangers as well, because you now have been caught unawares, and now you want to make sure everybody behind you also knows this. And I would like to see our flashers working at this moment, in this time, and in this space to let everybody know what's going on.
You know, we see the big picture here, the merge point, and the driver does just an excellent job of staying back, creating space. You know, we're going to get there. We just have to be patient. We have to be courteous and create that space. And so somebody's going to come over, because surely somebody's going to try jumping out in front of us. So the driver just does a great job of staying back, owning that space in front of him in this video.
Yeah, I can see the tanker already crossing the two solid white lines in the merge point. I think that's a great indication of why this video was taped, because that's not what you want to do. You want to make sure you get to the merge point and then come over.
Yep.
But if you look at the video before this and this one here, just a lot of chaos. And it's always best, Drive Safe Dave or Dale, when you're in chaos, to slow down, to give yourself a chance to react. And I think the last video kind of would do the same thing. A lot of lights, you're in a construction area, you're merging on, it's chaotic. Slow down, give yourself a chance to react.
This one here, when I watched it the first time, really didn't see what's going on. We see this truck in front of us slowing down and taking it. So it goes really big picture, watching what's going on ahead of us, because that's a escort vehicle, and there's a wide load coming up underneath under this bridge. And so, you know, I would like to see the four-way flashers on to communicate to others that we're coming to a stop, that something else is going on in front of us that we really don't have control over. And so just you know, it's a learning video here of getting that great big picture and being able to see far ahead. You know, if that was a van truck and we were following it too close, we would have no idea, you know, what's coming up underneath that bridge, that a wide load's coming at us, why we're stopped.
You know, great speed turning into the curve. I mean, we're doing everything right. I would like to see a little bit better distance between the vehicle in front of you. and the one I like to see concrete between the two vehicles when you come to a stop at all times. That way you make sure you give plenty of cushion no matter what happens.
You know, this one here, you just got to watch this one for just a little bit, and I think I'm going to say, no, don't do it, don't do it. You know, that's a pass on the shoulder. That's a solid white line. There's white lines there that say don't do it. And this is where, as drivers, as professionals, we just have to be patient and be courteous. And when we drive a drive like this and go out and pass on a shoulder, a bunch of cars like this, it's just not the safest thing to do. It's not the safe thing to do, and it's not legal. So drivers, just be patient. We're going to get there.
Right here, and you can see on that video, there were multiple white lines placed in a vertical or horizontal position for the road of traffic. It absolutely was telling you, do not do that.
Okay, you know, every day I throw one in there that's, you know, intersections are dangerous, and this is today's version of intersections are dangerous. You know, we're coming up to this traffic light, the driver in this one slowing down, going to get stopped for the stoplight, and the other vehicle comes from a turn lane and cuts right in front of us. I mean, the only good thing I can say about it is the four-wheeler that cut us off at least used the turn signal and gave us some communication that he was going to do it. Well, I mean, you know what? It's better to know that it's coming at you than not. And so, I mean, it's still a bonehead move. There's no doubt about it. I mean, coming from a turn lane and cutting in front of somebody, but, you know, at least you communicate a little bit that's going on. I mean, communication in traffic is always the key.
Four-wheeler basically didn't turn left in a turn-only lane, also changed lanes in an intersection. I mean, there were multiple problems with what's going on here. I mean, as long as he waved and said thanks, we're good.
Well, communication, we talk about communication a lot, so.
Scary.
Yep. And this one, like I said, just a nice job of keeping your speed in space and slowing down for it. We're in lots of heavy traffic. Traffic's coming to a stop, and so I just really, you know, like showing this one. And then when I look in the adjoining lane, look at the nice space that the other drivers got there too. So maybe word's getting out that we have to keep our space out there. We have to manage our speed. So just a great video to end up with this morning.
Yeah, so I mean, man, just a great group of videos right there. And so some things that that caught my attention. Number one, we're going into a construction zone. We're merging in. It's nighttime. I'm just saying somehow we have to slow down because, man, there's just so much chaos. And if we think about the chaotic situation, then we just say, you know what, maybe I should slow down. We just want you to see these videos and how would you do it? You know, and use these videos to help you make a better decision if you can the next time you're in one of these things. We saw the tanker moving over, right, crossing over into another chaotic situation. It's moving over into the left lanes as you have probably 3 highways merging together, it looks like. And then lastly, we saw the video where the truck was just got a little impatient. Went into the right lane. Down the shoulder. Yeah, it's on the shoulder and goes down the road. Just nothing good about that either. We just have to pack the patience, relax for a second. You know, we don't want to place that load, your miles ahead of life.
Nope.
I think that's, if we can get that part through our mind, and it's hard to do it at the moment, right? I mean, you slowed. Maybe it's 6:55 and your appointment's at 7:15. You know, something like that, and you feel like if I don't make this, I'm gonna be late. They're not gonna take me. You cannot ever place the miles, the cargo before life. Life's got to be the most important decision we make, and if you catch yourself making that decision, you have to stop. You have to pack your patience. Nothing good can happen from that move. I mean, nothing good can happen, and we just, you know, is it bad for the image? Yes, absolutely. It's not good for the image. We work on that, but it's just not the right thing to do. It's not the safe thing to do, and we want it to bother you. You know, we really do bother you so much that you don't do it. That's what we want.
Yeah, you look at it, and if you tell yourself you're in a hurry, if you tell yourself I'm late, if you do those things, then all of a sudden you start making those mental errors that say, I am allowed to do this because I'm in a hurry. There is a selfish moment in time. There's a selfish moment in thought. Don't be. You're not in a hurry today. Remember that. You're in a moment and an opportunity to be safe.
I say, if you want to close this out with a prayer.
Yeah. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you today on this most hallowed of days in this country. We say thank you, Father, for all that have served and all that will serve. And Father, we want to give a special blessing to those that are giving their all today for others in their service to this country. Father, we also ask today that you give a special blessing to the drivers out there on the road doing what they do and how they serve, and making sure that they have an opportunity to make great decisions today in being safe, protecting others, and being a blessing upon somebody else in some way. Father, we ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. We'll see you this afternoon. God bless. Make a safe decision today.